And call this meeting of the Archaeological Review Committee of September 2nd, 2021 to order. May we have the roll call, please?
Chair Eck.
Present.
James Ivy.
Present.
Courtney Wands.
She is trying to log in.
And Dale Zen.
Dale Zen is excused.
Or did I? And Derek Pierce. Did I miss that one?
Yeah, I'm present.
Thank you.
We have a quorum and one member still trying to log in. We can proceed with consideration of the agenda. Is there anything to change or add to this, Nicole?
No, Chair Eck, but I will, I wanted to let you know, we'll let Carly take the reins for tonight, so she can go through her first public hearing as the HPD manager, now that she's fully on board. So,
right,
but I'll stand by for questions, information, or to chime in. So thanks.
Carly, take a firm grasp on the reins. I don't respond well to anything but a spade bit, so you have to really haul on.
Hey, thank you very much, Chair.
All right, committee members, agenda.
There being no changes, Mr. Chair, I move we approve the agenda for September 2nd.
I read lips sometimes. I believe Member Ivy seconded.
Yes.
Roll call vote, please.
You guys
Member
can't
Pierce.
hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine just now, but you were dead silent earlier when your mouth was moving.
My ventriloquist wasn't speaking for me.
At least it's the ventriloquist half.
Member Pierce.
Aye.
Member Ivy.
Aye.
Member Wands.
Aye.
And Chair Eck.
Having now 4 members, the chair typically does not vote.
Concerning 4 members, it looks like we have Nicole Thomas twice.
That is because I did not get the link.
I won't object.
Good. Well,
I can go away if you want.
I heard 3 ayes, therefore the motion carries. Next is approval of minutes, which I did not see any minutes, so should we dispense with that?
Go ahead.
Minute. Sorry. We should be, minutes will be coming in October.
Thank you. Having no minutes, we will move now to item D, matters from the floor. We have, I'm told, 2 people in attendance. We constitute the floor, so
4 people and I see no hands.
all right. We can now move on to consider old business, which I am unaware of any old business. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank
Chair Eck.
you. We will move on to item F, new business. Case number 2021-4112. Michael O'Connell, archaeologist with Paleo West, requests to be listed on the City of Santa Fe list of approved archaeologists and historians for the river and trails and suburban archaeological review districts. We have the staff report. Thank you for preparing that, Nicole. Is there anything to add to that?
Staff has nothing to add.
Thank you. At this point, we typically turn to the applicant, so we'll need to enable him and have him sworn in.
Do you know how to move them over?
I'm having a spinning wheel, and so it's just going to take a moment. There's a little bit of delay on my end, so thank you for everyone's patience. And Mr. O'Connell, you should be able to speak once unmuted and be sworn in.
Can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. O'Connell, do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Can you please state your name and address for the record?
My name is Michael O'Connell. I live at 1816 Gold Avenue Southeast, Apartment 3 in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Thank you. You may proceed.
So Michael, this is your chance to expound if you wish, or you can just wait for committee questions. It's your preference.
I'd be happy to take any questions you have.
All right, then committee, let us begin. May I start with member Ivy?
I have no questions for the candidate, I guess I'll call him.
All right, thank you, Jake. Member Wands.
Based on your chart of experience, I added up that you have 143 days of supervisory experience. Is that correct?
That would be about correct. On that chart specifically, there's experience outside of New Mexico that wouldn't be on that chart. That would also count as supervisory experience in other states and countries.
Okay, I can only go off of what's in
course.
front of me, not.
Yep. But that would be correct about the list of supervisory days in New Mexico, correct?
Thanks.
Is that all, Courtney?
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I didn't realize you didn't hear me.
I'm half deaf.
What a surprise.
The computer doesn't help, so. Member Pierce.
Well, I didn't see or didn't get the chart of experience, but I think I've got enough from the resume there. I do have one question. On your Vita, the only experience I see in Santa Fe itself is a monitor from August of 2020. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. There is another single day of experience that came actually after the application was sent in, but it's only a single day of survey.
Okay. And during that monitor, were you just on site or were you in charge?
I was in charge. I was the only, archaeologist on charge, on site, identifying features and stuff like that. Yeah.
I wish you would answer that differently. That was a bit of a trick question. You see, my point here is that you were in charge of a monitor before you were listed on the directory. That's, that's not supposed to happen.
Excuse me. I mean, there was another archaeologist who wasn't always with me, Chris Turnbow from New Mexico Gas. He's retired now.
Mm-hmm.
So Chris Turnbow was present in and around. He wasn't always present, but was present and supervisory over the overarching monitoring. Yeah, sorry.
So
that wasn't clear. I was the only one there at some times, but yes, Chris Turnbow was the overall monitor for New Mexico Gas for that whole project.
Okay, fair enough. Good. I'm glad to hear that you did at least have the resource available to you.
Right,
that
yes.
You needed it. All right.
Sorry about the confusion there, yeah.
No problems. No, other than that, I don't have any questions.
Chair Eck, would it be helpful if I put up the chart of experience for viewing, or are other members okay?
Members, would you like to see it?
I have it.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, just let me know where you need me to go.
Member Pierce, you still have the floor if you wish.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm finished. That was my
Okay.
only question.
Then related to the chart of experience, page 2, right there. The first and fourth entries in the southeast permit area. The first being Foghorn Leghorn Pipeline. Those guys in the southeast, they love their funny names. And then the Joplin Ridge survey. You list yourself as field director for the first and crew chief for the second. And yet in the documents produced for those reports, you are referred to as a crew technician.
I mean, all I could say about that is my title at the company is crew chief. And so, you know, whether I was acting in a role as field technician as opposed to crew chief, I mean, I work as a supervisory archaeologist for the company. So I would listen myself as what my title is. And that's all I can say about that.
Understood. Your resume presents some selected research, but does not list a set of reports or report sections other than those that you may have authored. Are there more?
Unfortunately, no. My experience has been mostly limited to the field, and it's not included enough time to apply written work throughout my CRM experience.
Well, I'll just say that I found 2 items in the NMCRIS records that are attributed to you as sole author. They are negative reports. The New Mexico information, whatever that NIAF.
Oh, there are 2. Oh, yes, there are 2 negative NIAFs that I completed. Yes, I didn't include those.
Those are reports.
Okay, that's good to know.
No one should ever discount them. A report is a report, regardless of the findings. It still needs to be done.
Okay.
And then amongst all of this, I found nothing to support your request to be listed as a historian. Could you expound upon any experience in that field?
As a experience as a historian?
Yes.
Other than the fact that my undergraduate degree is in history, though it's mainly with a European focus, so would not apply extremely well to the Santa Fe region for certain.
All right, thank you, Michael.
Mr. Chair, a point of clarification. Is the applicant actually applying to be listed as both an archaeologist and a historian, or are we conflating the 2?
On the agenda, it says, and historian, or am I just reading that wrong?
Well, yeah, you are reading the agenda correct. I'm questioning whether the agenda itself is maybe misleading.
Let me look at this.
It may be that the generic name of this list is inclusive and the categories within it are exclusive, and I might be conflating that.
Chair,
I wondered, yeah, because I couldn't be listed as a historian for Santa Fe either, right? I mean,
Chair-
as an
yeah,
archaeologist, certainly, but not a historian.
Chair, and Member Pierce, that is correct. That the list is called the City of Santa Fe List of Approved Archaeologists and Historians. And so people can apply for one or both. And I believe that Mr. O'Connell is only asking for listing as an archaeologist in as an archaeologist in the River and Trails in Suburban.
All right, that helps. Then ignore all of that. You don't need to speak to experience as a historian. In years past, we have tried to make sure folks who are applying have more than passing experience in authorship of reports of the work that they would be doing under this approval. I realize you are listed as a crew chief on the state's list of qualified personnel. And normally that carries a great deal of weight. I'm just a little unsure in this situation how to proceed. I'd like to hear more from other members. Or if nobody wants to say anything, I'll shut up and somebody can make a motion.
I don't see that he meets the requirements because of the 2-year requirement of supervisory experience.
And that's 2 years for listing as
An archaeologist in the ordinance.
in the ordinance, 2 years. Okay, thank you.
Is that all districts or only
That's
historic
all-
downtown?
That's actually all districts.
Okay.
Section E2, line B, hold a master's. A is hold a master's or have equivalent training. B is have at least 2 years of experience in directing archaeology projects, including at least 6 months of field experience in the Southwestern United States. And be listed, and C is be listed as a state historian, as either the PI or supervisory archaeologist on the state listing.
So
So it's not an and or.
right, it is both. That requirement for supervisory experience, though, does not necessarily have to be in New Mexico or the Southwest. Only 6 months does, correct?
Correct.
So
But-
I guess we would want to ask the applicant if he has other supervisory experience that is not on his chart or his resume that would get him over that threshold.
Yeah, so with the chart of application, I was providing what I felt was relevant experience to the city of Santa Fe. So this is actually just essentially the New Mexico experience. There is other experience I could add. I helped run a field school for 4 weeks outside of Flagstaff 2 summers ago in conjunction with the Coconino. I've also worked as a supervisory archaeologist at a field school in England for 3 summers, both 4 weeks, 4 to 6 week periods. The summers of 2013, 2014, and 2015. And then there is some other supervisory experience for Paleo West and a few other companies in, again, Arizona. But it's part of a wider chart that I'd have to pull together.
Well, I'll defer to the other members of the committee, but my suggestion would be to do that. to return to us next time with an updated chart that includes all of your supervisory experience. And hopefully that will get you to the 2-year threshold.
I agree with that.
Yes.
All right, so we can entertain a motion to table until or postpone until a date certain. If you wish to choose a specific date, or we could entertain a motion to deny and expect that you'll come back as soon as you have scraped together the additional information and reapply. Those seem to be the two options.
So the submittal date for the next meeting would be 2 weeks from today, is that right? Or thereabouts?
What? 2 weeks?
Chair Eck, the next meeting is the first Thursday in October.
Yeah,
That would be October 7th.
So the deadline to get materials to the city would be September
21st. September 21st.
Is that doable, Michael?
Absolutely. And would I supply those materials to Nicole like last time? Would I supply those materials to Nicole like I did last time?
Sorry, you can supply them to me now.
Okay.
And copy Nicole.
Okay, Mr. Chair, then if we're ready, I'm going to make a motion that we postpone consideration of case 4112 until the next meeting.
I believe I saw a lip synced second there from member Ivy.
yes.
Okay,
Why couldn't-
motion seconded. We may have a roll call.
Member Ivy,
Aye. Aye.
member Wands,
Aye.
member Pierce.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you, Michael. We
Thank you.
appreciate all the work. Case number 2021-4114, Paleo West, agent for PNM, requests approval of an archaeological monitoring plan for 1,120 linear feet of utility line installation along Starfire Lane in the River and Trails Archaeological Review District. We have the staff report from Nicole. City staff, is there anything to add to that report?
We have nothing to add.
All right, at this point, we will solicit a representative of Paleo West to be empowered to speak and get sworn in.
Again, thank you for your patience. I have a spinning wheel.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Please be sworn in.
Good afternoon. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Can you please state your name and your address for the record?
My name is Antonio DeCunzo, and my address is 6200 Eubank Boulevard Northeast, apartment 1425, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 87111.
Okay, thank you. You may proceed.
You have the floor, Antonio.
Yes, hello. Good to be back in front of you all. PNM is proposing to install just over 1,100 feet of a distribution line in the Rivers and Trails District. The project is going to be trenched the entire way. The trench, as specified in the monitoring plan, will be no wider than 3 feet, and it will be, I'm sorry, 20, what is that? And then it should be generally no deeper than 42 inches. And I think that's about it. I would like to just bring up a couple of quick things here that were not explicit in the monitoring plan. Paleo West is recommending to PNM that before the project begin, that we survey the area. PNM is under the impression that the area has been previously bladed and graded, as it is, adjacent to a road. However, as ground surface is visible, Paleo West recommends that not only the APE, but a buffer of 50 feet on either side of the APE get surveyed. So that's the first thing I would like to mention. And then the second thing I'd like to mention, just a couple of ways to sort of enhance our culture history in that specific part of Santa Fe. Arroyo Hondo Pueblo is located about a mile, a little over a mile, about 1.1 miles to the southeast. As I'm sure most folks here know better than I, Arroyo Hondo Pueblo is a pretty significant late coalition to classic period Pueblo. Excavations began in earnest in the early 70s with Mr. Schwartz at the School of American Research. So that's the other thing. And then also I would like to mention that the project is fairly close to the Santa Fe Trail, although it will not impact any known mapped ruts or mapped portions of the Santa Fe Trail. And I am happy to take any and all questions.
All right, thank you for that. Member Pierce.
I don't have any questions, just one comment. And it's silly, but figure 3, which is the map showing the actual footprint of the project. I thought when I first saw that I must be being pranked. I mean, it goes like 90% of the way all the way around a parcel. It's a strange outlay to me, but that's neither here nor there as long as the archaeology is done right. But otherwise, I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Member Ivy.
It's a strange looking one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I assume that I understand the reasons, so I have no question.
Thank you. Number 1.
This may be nitpicky, but so on page 28, is under section 7 monitoring. You're saying Paleo West in consultation with the Santa Fe ARC recommends monitoring along all areas of ground disturbance. You're actually required to monitor. It's not a recommendation. It's being done under specific ordinance.
I will make sure that language is amended on this plan and all future ones.
Thanks. That's it.
All right, thank you. Just want to verify that this will be going to HPD for approval as a monitoring plan under the state's regulations.
Yes, sir.
All right, so it'd be actually nice to change that before you hand it to them. Thank you for specifying very clearly that it's all going to be trenching. I'm kind of shocked that they're willing to trench across a fairly major street in a neighborhood where people have more money in their car than I have in my whole house, I would have bet you $1,000 they were going to bore under that road. Never mind. The only thing I have to say is on your page 30, packet page 37, analyses. That first two sentences, it kind of disturbs me. If I read this one way, I'm led to believe that if you find a Clovis point, you aren't going to collect it.
I wouldn't want to give you that impression. No, that's yeah. I can see how the confusion would arise. We will make sure to refine our language there.
Thank you. I would just suggest that it's worthwhile at almost all times to collect diagnostic materials when you find them. You can sort out and argue and characterize the context later, but I think we'd rather have them and curate them than to say it was there and it's not in hand.
Yes, sir. Message received.
So that's actually it. I like the overall package. And I'll throw in just one additional thing related to yours speaking about an expanded culture history. A little bit closer than Arroyo Hondo is the place called Upper Arroyo Hondo, which is a little earlier. And personally, since I like really old things, more interesting. It has not been excavated and investigated to the extent that Arroyo Hondo has, but it puts a footprint on the ground of a slightly earlier time frame than the majority of Arroyo Hondo itself. So it's worth considering that too while you're at it. That's all.
Yes, sir.
Someone want to take a crack at a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move that we approve case 4014 with the recommended minor corrections to the text. And forward to the State of Historic Preservation Division.
Well, that will happen without our good graces, I believe. And I am seeing Jake seconding, and agreeing to your amendment. And so moved and seconded, we can have a roll call.
There we go. Sorry about that.
No problem.
Member Pierce,
Aye.
Member Ivy.
Aye.
Member Wands.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Antonio. Case number 2021-4115. Office of Archaeological Studies, agent for PNM, requests concurrence for no monitoring of 1,265 linear feet of subsurface conduit and pull boxes at the New Mexico 599 to US 285 interchange in the Suburban Archaeological Review District. We have a staff report provided by Nicole. Does city staff need to add anything?
We have nothing to add.
I will just, for the record, indicate that the citation to Okun 2019 is misspelled in the staff report.
Thank you. And I apologize, my video on my computer does not work today.
Well, I have a suitable image here. I will put the icon up on top of my computer screen, and Imagine the rest.
Please be sworn in.
Please be sworn in.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, can you please state your name and address for the record?
Eric Blinman. Would you like the office or the home address?
Home address, I suppose?
6 Frasco Road, Santa Fe, New Mexico, 87508.
Thank you. You may proceed.
This is and I don't know if this is odd in characteristics or not, but we were approached relatively late from PNM trying to figure out whether or not they needed ARC approval, and we sort of had quick exchange of information with Nicole and with the New Mexico Department of Transportation. And because PNM is considered a private utility within DOT rights of way, they do not include private utilities in their consultation process for the movement of those utilities when highway construction requires that they be moved. So this is a case where PNM does need to come before ARC and apply for a city determination of whether or not, in this case, monitoring is required under the city ordinance for this particular project. I've walked the entire length of it. I walked it before the current construction work of DOT realignment of the intersection is taking place. When I drove past it yesterday afternoon, the entire area of the proposed PNM replacement and realignment of their line has been completely bladed with other utility movements. So they are coming in and relocating their line within a completely cleared alignment.
As in cleared of vegetation.
And the ground surface
Has also been disappeared. We're looking at substrate now.
yes, and in fact, most of it was substrate as of the construction of the current 84-285 through that project area.
If that's all, we'll let committee members chime in.
I get the impression that we're going for no monitoring because essentially there is no opportunity or chance for anything to survive there other than geological information.
That would be one way to look at it, yes.
Okay. Just curious,
Thank you, Jake.
especially considering we were just talking about how no monitoring was not an option just a few minutes ago. Different circumstances, I guess. Eric, I'm actually teasing Chair Eck and not you. So I'm sorry if it put you in a spot.
That's perfectly okay. This is, and to me, it's an interesting regulatory problem.
Yeah.
But I think PNM is probably now doing a better job of anticipating this on future projects where they're having to relocate within NMDOT rights of way.
Okay.
Member Wands?
Given that there's nothing there, I see no point in making you guys comment on it.
PNM will appreciate that.
Oh,
And finally, Member Pierce.
Sorry, I had to unmute there. Dr. Blimmen, in reading it, I think I understand that the previous project done by Adam Oken covered the entire footprint of PNM's realignment. Is that true? Is it fair to say?
And around it.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I concur. I don't really see a reason to repeat that. I would advocate for what the state would call clearance based on previous survey. But just to not let you off too easy, I do have one other comment. And that would be on report page 7, packet page 11. And it is the last paragraph dealing with LA 65494. Your report states that the site could not be found where it was plotted and that you recommended it as not eligible as part of this interchange project. That's a little bit misleading. It is fair to say that it is not part of this project, but you can't say it's not eligible if you can't find it,
Okay.
right?
I will correct that language.
The only way you could argue it's not eligible is if you're fairly certain it has been destroyed and you can document that. Otherwise, it is just status unknown. That's all I have. Thank you.
Yes, all right. Just out of curiosity, do you happen to know if during all the construction for this thing covered by Okun's survey resulted in any discoveries?
The only discoveries I made while I was hiking up to walk the area was that the erosion had undermined the guardrails and the verge of the pavement just downslope from the project area. There was no recommendation in the section 106 recommendations for this project, no recommendations for monitoring at all. So as far as the federal highway administration and highway department view, there were no cultural resources present, and there was no requirement that any monitoring be done on this project.
Oh yeah, but discoveries happen all the time when there is no monitor present. That's why I asked the question.
No, let's put it this way. I've worked with enough contractors to know that I cannot guarantee that the contractors did not discover something, but nothing was reported to the environmental section of NMDOT.
Very, very nicely put.
I did walk, part way into this, I did walk the segment, and everything that I saw was geological.
Yeah. And to reprise the discussion of LA 65494, in your defense, the site was determined not eligible in 1998. And so if it's not where it's a concern to you, I think it's fair to say it's not a concern to us, but it has been determined not eligible.
Yeah.
And it's probably on the other side of the road anyway, so.
Mm.
All right,
Not eligible for not necessarily the right reasons.
indeed. Someone want to make a motion?
I'm not sure I would make a motion, but I'm not sure what it is I'm moving.
Well, how about something like this? Move to approve the project without the requirement for monitoring.
Oof. All right. I move that in case 2021-004115 ARC, Office of Archaeological Studies, that we approve the request for no monitoring.
I'll
Or did
second
I-
that.
Okay, I'm not sure about approve the request being what I want, but
That works.
all right.
Moved and seconded. Let's have the roll call vote.
Clarification, who seconded?
That would be me.
Eric.
Pierce,
Thank you. Okay, Member Pierce,
Aye.
Member Ivy,
aye.
Member Wands.
Aye.
Motion passes.
On a vote of 3-0, that is approved. Moving on to item G, administrative matters and communications.
You need to come back more often, Eric.
I'm not sure if Carly has anything to add. I do not.
Okay, if there are no administrative matters and communications, matters from the committee.
This is just, you know, I'm getting the digital packets now, and what I've noticed is most of the figures I can't actually read. They're really blurry, and it's across the board, so it's not just one project or another.
Yeah, some of mine, one page is perfectly sharp, and then the next page is so blurry that I'm not quite sure what the letters are. If I hold it at a distance, I'm used to reading blurry at a distance. But
Yeah,
still, I mean, it's a very strange on and off
Yeah.
phenomenon.
Okay, Chair and members. I noticed that too, actually, about this packet. Has it happened with previous packets too, or was it just this one?
Not that I noticed, because I probably would have said something, just because like figure 3 in this, I can't make heads or tails of. I know there's red and there's blue, and
I think that now that Carly is on board and she'll be taking in the applications, I think it's I reduced the file size, and that may have been, but I've done it before and it hasn't caused a problem. But when I was looking at it today, I noticed the same with the figures and things. So we can work on remedying that either in the whole packet, or we can revert to just sending the figures separately, so that you
That
have
works.
a color copy of the figures, and then, but we'll figure that out. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
well, thank you. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
It's like, I just went to the eye doctor.
Yeah.
Nicole,
Yeah.
just to follow up, I had the same issue with some pages of text as well. It was so blurry, it was almost unreadable.
Really?
So
Okay.
it isn't just figures.
Yeah, and then certainly, like, if there's time, I know that sometimes there's not time between the time the packet arrives and the hearing, but always feel free to like contact and let us know, and we can get you something out. And so, yeah, we'll figure out how to remedy that. And I think it'll be easier from the city computer than the way that we've been doing it for my.
The same problem for me, and since I'm a paper guy, I also got a paper copy, and the paper copy was obviously printed from the digital copy, and it has the same problem.
Okay.
In addition, some of the supplemental material provided in support of Mr. O'Connell's application, there was a fairly biggish PDF. don't know what happened. It may have been this way when it left his hands, but many pages in there were not displayable because Adobe didn't like what it saw. So
Yes.
In the, this is in his packet in the writing, like in the writing samples?
yep,
Right, but because it was one whole thing, I don't know about you, Charek, but I know it crashed Adobe on me like just repeatedly.
Oh, really?
I managed to get past a bad part, almost like a bad sector on a hard drive. And it worked for like 20 pages and then it blew up again. So I just said, I'm done.
Whatever. Okay. Okay, yeah, we'll figure out some way to get you guys a more solid digital copy. It would be good if we could put it on PrimeGov. We were told that we can't make it confidential because getting it on PrimeGov would allow it to be completely readable. But then it becomes public, like visible to all the public, so we can't do that.
Yep,
And
we're
then,
not going there.
yeah, and then the city attorney's office said that we can't do a confidential kind of thing. So I'll work with Carly and we'll talk to the city attorney's office and
Session.
see what we can do. Yeah. See what we can do.
I mean, it's an added step, but it's almost as though we're in a situation where everything that's submitted somehow needs to be vetted by somebody who understands that making sure something works involves all the pages, not just, oh yeah, the first 3 worked, it must be okay, because when you get to page 4, it blows up. So I know the city has like Zip for staff. And believe me, if I could volunteer, I would, but I can't, so I won't.
Just kidding.
It somehow needs to be vetted before it gets shoved out the door as fodder for a meeting.
Yeah, we can do that pretty soon. We'll have administrative support that won't come again until like October. So we've been down, 1.5 people. And yeah, so hopefully that'll be smooth out. And then the back and forth about virtual versus in person too. It's been a little bit of that.
Okay. If there are no other matters from committee, we're going to assume that everybody's around and available and going to be here for next month's meeting.
What's the date of next month's meeting again?
October 7th.
Eric and I are both working on being gone, I think.
Yeah.
October 7th, yeah.
So
I think that's good for me.
when it's the public meeting next month, is it just us or is the entire public allowed to be in there?
You mean in person? So I don't think that, so we were gonna do in person starting this meeting, but as of August 10th, there was a new order that everything's gonna be virtual for at least through the end of the year is my
Oh,
understanding.
okay.
Yep, so still doing virtual, and then we'll go from there, because.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure, so,
Doesn't-
yeah.
I had a question, one question before we leap off here. Nicole, when you talk about Carly, are you talking about Manager Picarello?
I am.
That is me.
Oh, I thought her first name was Manager.
It is, but she goes by Carly.
Ah, okay.
That's AKA Carly.
I'm still new to this work in the Zoom and relabeling names. And
She's-
so
she's
you may find an extra Nicole Thomas and
Usually me.
Oh,
Yeah,
we're very
Carly-
polite and nice to everyone, so most of the time.
Nicole,
Yeah.
I was talking to Noah earlier when we had the mix up about 3:30 versus 4:30. And I think that it was actually changed at my request, but I had assumed that we were doing an in-person meeting. I am
No.
okay with the virtual meeting being at 3:30 if it is easier for everybody involved. I will leave that up to you, but I remove any objection to starting at 3:30 as long as we're still as long as we're doing virtual meetings. It can be anytime.
So what actually happened was that, yes, because we were going back to in-person, we were going to go back to 4:30, not just because of your request, but because that was the time when the room was reserved and all that kind of stuff that was going on. Then when things went back to virtual, there's like a hard coding in the PrimeGov agenda module. And so they put in 4:30 and that's how it became 4:30. It didn't get communicated to Noah, all that. In terms of 3:30 versus 4:30, I think that, I don't know, Carly, what kind of feedback you got from Noah on that. And I don't know what other committee members think in terms of the time.
Well, the reason I bring it up is when I was talking to Noah, he expressed some concern that your license or whatever already had a standing meeting at 6 o'clock. So if we had a long meeting, we would cut off at 6 o'clock.
That's correct. The planning commission meeting is on Thursdays in the afternoon. Or at the
It's been a
evening.
while since we've had one go 90 minutes, but it's always possible.
The general translation of all that is, David, shut up.
Actually, now that I look, we're approaching 90 minutes here before too long. But yeah, if 3:30 works better, I would certainly have no objection to 3:30.
All right, keep us advised.
Okay, we will. And we'll give you better packets.
Most definitely.
Try. Do what you can.
Okay.
The agenda bears the letter I for Ivy, but was better known as item Jake.
Okay. I move we adjourn. Much as I hate to go.
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Let's have a roll call vote, please.
All right, member Ivy,
Aye.
member Pierce,
Aye.
member Wands.
Aye.
Thank you, members and chair.
This hearing of the Archaeological Review Committee is adjourned. See you all next month.
Thank you.
Sounds good.